Hi there, I'm Dr. Andrea Libutti, and this video is the first cornerstone to independence for your child with autism. And I have to say, it is the most important cornerstone, and that is communication. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples to highlight why it's so important, and then I'm going to go into some modalities that you can think about using to help your child communicate, nonverbal or not. So I had a friend that had a 16-year-old boy that was nonverbal in the public school system. And he got to the point at age 16 where he was becoming so aggressive and so frustrated, he was knocking things over, knocking tables over, hitting people, really aggressive, to the point where they had a meeting, the powers that be, with the family, and said, listen, your child can't come here anymore. We cannot manage him or handle him. And fast forward to these parents who were very out of the box thinkers, and they said, okay, there has to be something going on here. There has to be a way that we can get in and know what's going on with our child's thoughts. So RPM, rapid prompting method, is the method that they use to start communicating with their child. And the tantrums and frustrations and aggression all but melted away almost instantaneously when he started being able to communicate effectively. And it did not take very long. I think he was so relieved that he actually had a modality to communicate what was going on. And the things that were coming out of his head were so profound and so insightful and so heartbreaking for the parents, because all these years they had no idea what their child knew, understood, was capable of, was thinking. And that reminds me about another parent that I met at a talk, who was talking about her son, who was 19 years old and had just started learning RPM. And this child was not aggressive or so-called behavioral, but the mom was like, I have no idea if my child knows math. I don't know if he knows how to read or write, or what's going on. And within a few months of doing RPM, all of that opened up for them, for their family. They suddenly knew that their child was completely intellectually intact. And just imagine what would happen for a child or individual that has no way to communicate their intelligence or their thoughts, to suddenly being able to do that. That completely opens the door for possibilities. So RPM is one method. I truly believe that it is one of the best methods. It was developed by a mom from India named Soma, and she has a Texas facility that trains people in RPM. She's very specific about how it works, but it is powerfully effective. I've watched RPM sessions with nonverbal kids with autism, teenagers mostly, and I have just been blown away by their humor, their wit, their insights. So that's a very powerful modality, RPM. There are also other like typing programs. There are iPad, people using iPads instead of doing a letterboard. So just so you know, RPM is where you hold a letterboard, which is this just piece of plastic that has A to Z on it. And then a facilitator or RPM person will hold up the letterboard and ask questions, and the person with autism will point to the letters to spell out the answers. Very straightforward, very simple. But it is so crazy how incredibly effective it is, and just like powerful for the voice of these kids that are locked inside their bodies. So consider RPM, consider other modalities if you feel like you can't get in to training and understanding RPM. There's a lot going on. At the end of this video, I have a link to a trailer. It's about an 8-minute trailer called Unlocked, and it's by filmmaker Cora, Cora. an award-winning filmmaker, and he or she, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, is doing a beautiful job at creating this video about these nonverbal autistic kids that are learning to type. So please watch the video down below. Leave me your comments, leave me your questions. Go on over to AndreaLibutti.com. Lots of free information and resources for you. So cornerstone, number one, most important, communication. Figure out a way to get your child's thoughts and insights and ideas out into the world. Number one for independence, potentially in the future. Thanks for listening, and I hope you have a great day.